What's going on, Falcon fans? It's your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. And today we're going to talk about Desmond Ritter again, benched again. Then we'll talk about what Arthur Blank had to say about the future of Coach Smith and moving forward with the season and the team, of course, next year. So, guys, with that being said, if you have not already, go ahead and please subscribe to the channel. Please hit that notification bell so you know when I drop another video. Please hit the like button so I know you guys out here that I talk about. Then please share my video throughout the YouTube universe so more people can come in and hear me talk about. That's right, these Atlanta Falcons. So let's get right into it today. Of course, we do have a game to play this week. The Atlanta Falcons are going up against the Indianapolis Colts, which is the last game in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. The next two games on the road. Um, we'll see can the Falcons come away with a win. You guys know how I feel about that. We'll have to see what happens. But with that being said, we do want to have to go over the injury report and see who's in and who's out. Right now, looking like David Amanyata and Caleb McGarry is still out. They did not practice today. Their offensive line was back though. So we had Drew Dahlman, we had Chris Lindstrom, Jake Matthews all practiced today, limited basis. So hopefully they could go. But Dupree was already also back out there. So hopefully he's able to go. And then, of course, CP and Calais Campbell both had their rest day that they've been taking all year long today. So we'll see. We can get some fresh bodies back out there um, to try to get some kind of consistency back on both sides of the ball, especially in the line of scrimmage where we really been decimated these last couple of games. No excuses. We've been losses, but they have been decimated in the last couple of games on both fronts, the offensive and defensive end. So we'll see if the Atlanta Falcons can get some of these guys back healthy. Also, we did have a roster move yesterday. They actually released Travis Bell. You know, he had his opportunity. He played some snaps last week against the Carolina Panthers, but the Atlanta Falcons decided to go ahead and release him, and they brought in um, Tommy Togold, 6'2", 296 pounds. Played 12 games with the Browns in 2022. What's going on, Jay Black 142? So we'll have to see what Tommy Togold could bring. Of course, like I said, our defensive front has been decimated. Bringing in somebody else, guy who has experience, you know, like I said, with the Cleveland Browns, we'll come in and see what Tommy Togold can do for us. But that's where we're at. So we're definitely going to be looking at the defensive front. See, can they trying to get some kind of pressure? You know, trying to stop the run. It looked like, of course, their dynamic running back is going to be back. It seemed like everybody always come back against us, right? They want to try to because it's the get right game, right? We playing the Atlanta Falcons, so Kyler Murray came back off his injury. Now you got the running back coming back off his injury, right? To play the Atlanta Falcons, but we'll see if this defensive front hold up. Our run defense been really good, this season. However, the last couple of games we kind of got hurt in it, and like I said, probably due to injury more than anything. But we can get some guys back that definitely going to help us out. So, welcome to the team, Tony Togal, especially for the last three games, this home stretch, and see what the Atlanta Falcons can do. We really don't know. We'll just have to see. So, guys, that's the injury report. Good to get offensive line back out there. Hopefully, David Amiyata can get some practice time in this week. He's been out the last two games, and I think Storm Norton has played good for Caleb McGarry, so I'm not going to worry about that right tackle position right that much right now. We'll have to see how that pans out. Um, well, thanks for the hat, bro. Thanks for the hat. I had to put my hat on today because you know I'm still Falcon down. Don't worry, I'm still wrapping the Falcons, but changed the hat up today just to see if I can get a little wisdom going in today. Um, yeah, you're right. This should be a good D tackle for us. We'll see what he can do. We need the depth, man. We need the depth. However, I do want to, with all the negativity that's been going around the team, we do got to talk about a couple of guys that had opportunities to start, flash a little bit. So you got to tip your hat off to Taquan Graham, get his first sack last week. Been in the league 3 years, but getting the opportunity to get more playing time, get more reps. He came up, played big in moments last week against the Carolina Panthers. And rookie Zach Harrison got his first sack as well. That was an athletic play that he made. Bryce Young scrambling out to the right. He was able to track him down to get his first sack as well. So, shine a light on a couple of guys. They kind of mixed it up in the defensive backfield as well. They had Clark Phillips out there. They had DeMarco Hellams. So it just goes to show you the depth of this team, the Atlanta Falcons being able to play guys more. And then what can we say about a guy like Nate Landman coming in looking like when Troy Anderson get back, it's going to be really hard to pull him off the field. So that's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with that. But Nate Landman has been playing well as well. So just those some good things that we have seen from this Atlanta Falcon team, during this season, even though, in my opinion, it's more likely probably over because I don't see Atlanta Falcons win the last 3 games. And it's just due to the fact of what I've seen all season. And we're going to get into another thing that maybe, some people might might think it might bring some hope, but we'll just have to see. And that's talking about Desmond Ridder getting benched again for these Atlanta Falcons. I think this has more to do with the head coach trying to save himself, right? He came out, said he wasn't going to play musical chairs at quarterback. So he went back to Desmond Ridder, and Desmond Ridder came in and pretty much didn't live up to to his expectations. It was up to Desmond Ridder to prove that he could be the future for the Atlanta Falcons at the quarterback position, but he failed at that. He really did. I mean, I think he's second in lead in turnovers for his quarterback. I think just Jalen Hurts is first, which is interesting, right? But Ridder is right behind him, and I think Ridder turnovers has been more critical and more hurt the team more than what Jalen Hurts has, because Jalen Hurts, they have won 10 games even though he have that many turnovers. They have won 10 games this season, so that should tell you something about when you do turn over the ball. It does really hurt the team, but moments and situations it's even more impactful. Like turning the ball over in the red zone is a double whammy. Everybody understands turning the ball over in the red zone is definitely a double whammy because first of all, you're taking points off the board. You're in the red zone, you pretty much guaranteed to get 3, long you're kicking through the uprights, of course, but you're not going. You're taking the score opportunity away. So the turnover in the red zone for Desmond Ridder really is critical. Not just last game, but I mean he had turnovers in the Commanders game in the red zone. If you guys remember that, not just turn the ball in the red zone, but if you turn the ball over on their side of the field close to their red zone, that's not good either. So those are some of the critical turnovers that Desmond Ridder had. Go back to the Tampa Bay game. We won that game. Talking about the one in Tampa, we won that game, but we had 3 turnovers in the red zone that game as well. So those critical issues just pile up over time, and those 2 issues were for me where I just say the kid just don't have it. You don't fumble the ball almost 5 or 6 times this season. Not all, being turnovers. We've been able to recover a lot of those fumbles, but just at the worst times in games where you can't not make those mistakes. That throw was probably one of the worst throws because if you just put everything in context, the time of the game, where we were, and what it meant to our season as well, all that it has in play. And at this time, we talk about Arthur Smith. Arthur Smith had to make this change, guys, because if he didn't, and it probably don't work anyway because what we've seen from Taylor Heinicke, I'm not 100% sure that he's going to be any better than Desmond Ridder, because what we've seen, the 2 sample side games that he had, the offense still looked like it was broken. It really did. So not sure how much better Taylor Heinicke is going to be in this offense. One thing we're hoping to see from Taylor Heinicke is limited turnovers, right? If you go back to some of the games, I mean, for instance, we played the New York Jets, right? We punted the ball 9 times, but one big key stat in that game, we did not turn over the ball in that game. and we came away with the win. So just thinking about it, where the offense looked just as bad that it always looks, but in that game we did not turn the ball over. We punted 9 times, but we was able to come away with the win. Now our defense forced turnovers with those guys, but at the same time we was able to come away with wins. That's what we got to take from from the importance, really the importance of not turning the ball over. That's what I always say. And a quarterback, every quarterback knows this. Well, any team knows this, right? Turnovers is the direct reflection of wins and losses a lot of times. If you go look at the turnover margin in games, and if you're in the negative, you probably have a worse, a worse chance you're going to lose that game. You just more than likely. That's what happens. So that's what I take from Desmond Ritter. Um, he has shown flashes. He's really shown flashes. Um, doing some good things. If you look at some of his 4 quarter numbers before last week, was pretty good. But some of his inaccuracies thrown, not being able to throw the ball deep, the critical errors, um, not just being able to 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 make plays when we needed to make it. And I'm gonna say it again. He's a good backup quarterback. He has a spot in this NFL, definitely. Like I said, to be a backup, but to be a franchise quarterback for a team, especially not for the Atlanta Falcons, I'm gonna say no. So that's where I'm at with that. Let's get into some of these comments here. Artis Mills, a dumbass, benching Ritter is not going to help. He might as well have stayed with Ritter because Heineke will not do any better down the stretch. And like I said, I agree with that. But this is really probably something that he had to do, and that's what I'm thinking. I think he had to do it because when you make mistakes like that, I mean, let's just be honest, man. That play that Desmond Ritter, and you can look at the entire game. We only scored 7 points, but that play that Desmond Ritter made probably lost us that game. Let's just be honest. That time, that moment, the Atlanta Falcons had momentum. They was driving the ball. It's no reason. It wasn't fourth down. It wasn't third. It wasn't even third down. He could have just ran out of bounds, man. He could have threw it all out, out of the end zone, something. But to throw that pass, there probably lost us the game. So, and that's what I take from it when I look at and I think about it. I think it probably lost us the game. But I agree with you 100%. I don't think Taylor Heineke is the answer. That's why, in my opinion, like I said, um, um, they should just go ahead and lose the rest of their games, man. And let's get ready for the draft. And you guys know my feeling about this now. If you listen to my last show that I did, I think the Atlanta Falcons need to go for it this year. They need to go all in, and go get a rookie quarterback. Go get. They need to do their due diligence. Don't be freaking impulsive and do what the Jets did and go get Zach Wilson or somebody like that. They need to do their homework on all these quarterbacks coming out the draft, and then make a big splash and go up. Um, I would if I had to give up my first round draft pick to move up, I would do that. I just me. I think now the Falcons have been conservative. They have been doing things by the book per se all these years. They got out of salary cap hell. They got good cap space. They can build through free agency and go for something. And for one reason, I believe this is going to be good for the fan base because we're most of us say right now, moving forward, with this regime, it just don't seem like it's a good idea. So if they decide to do that, and we'll get into that in just a minute, what Arthur Blank had to say, but if they decide to do that, they need to be able to make some changes where us as a fan base and for themselves to see that it's going to be different. Because if you run it back with what we have now, what would make anybody think that it's going to get any better? So that's where I'm at with it. But you're right. I don't believe that Taylor Heineke is going to fix anything. I have seen enough games. We had 14 games now. We got 3 left. Um, it's no way this offense going to get kickstarted all of a sudden and start to run on all cylinders. And if it does, you would have to ask, why in the hell did he go back to Desmond Ridder in the first place? If Taylor Heineke all of a sudden just start making his offense look great, which I don't think that's going to happen. Um, put it all on Arthur Smith. He should have gotten a quarterback from the beginning. Yes, yes. Like you know, everybody talking about using Desmond Ritter to scapegoat and all that stuff, and you're 100% correct. You know, somebody else gonna take a fault, all this stuff, but in reality, at the end of the day, it's all gonna fall on his shoulder anyway. Because guess what? The players are not going nowhere. If they still under contract, they can release players. I get that thing like that, but most times the players don't go, the coaches go. So, that's why he made this move, in my opinion, to save his coaching career here in Atlanta, because he's trying to do something to prove that he's trying to win these games, right? If he stick with Desmond Ritter, where we mostly think that it's nowhere in hell, because like I don't know how you guys feel at games, but when I go to games, when Desmond Ritter drop backs to pass, I be thinking, he about to do something with it that he don't supposed to. That's just me. Like that's the kind of confidence I got in the young quarterback right now. I just don't feel comfortable with him dropping back passing the ball. However, you have to be able to pass the ball when the defense is set up to stop the run, right? You have to make them honest, keep those guys honest. So if you just can only run the ball, that's what should be our identity 100%, being able to run the ball. But if you can't push them back off that line of scrimmage and make them, think you're a threat to pass, it's not going to do any good. So that he has to be able at least to do that. But it's just been too inconsistent. Yes, three 300-yard games and all this good stuff, but at the end of the day, it's not been consistent enough. And I think Arthur Smith feels like putting a veteran in might change. We'll see. Um, Maybe Taylor Heineken go on a burnt run. We'll see. I don't think so. I agree with everybody in the chat. And yes, Arthur Smith should take all the blame 100% for what has transpired this year. No matter who the quarterback is or whatever, he we all seen the how all everybody pound their fist that they was going with young Desmond Ritter, and this is where we're at now. The offense has really just let this team down, and Arthur Smith is the OC/head coach, so it's all his fault. Um, you don't have a bad take on Ritter. You don't have a take on Ritter Ricondo. Ritter was not placed in a position to succeed because Arthur Smith is not a good head coach or OC. Ritter did not have a good quarterback coach for Ritter to help him out. Yeah, I agree with you with all that. I'm not disagreeing with you on any of that. However, I have seen enough of Desmond Ritter. He's not the guy, man. He's a good backup quarterback. He's not our franchise quarterback. Because and the point I'm making is because the plays that he makes, because everybody talk about this play call, this play call. At the end of the day, he's the one throwing those passes. And you can't make those kind of throws, right? Everybody, so enamored by the 300-yard he did a while back here, you know, against that was a Tampa Bay game, right? That meant miraculous catch that Drake London caught. That was a terrible throw, and that's what I mean. Like sometimes the results still don't look at the mechanics and techniques or how he got there, right? Sometimes the players make good plays and they make their quarterback look good, but for me, I haven't seen Desmond Ritter. I watched the football game last night, Monday Night Football, um, and I watched the Seattle Seahawks against the Philadelphia Eagles, and I sat there and watched the young quarterback from Seattle make great throws at the end of the game. Great throws. I mean, pinpoint accuracy throws. and he's a backup, right? But I haven't seen Desmond Ritter make those kind of throws. Maybe maybe 4 or 5 throws he have made like that all season long. But you know, young quarterback got out there and made a fourth quarter drive for the ages, for their season, their playoff season, what you're asking your quarterback to do that you want to be the franchise, and he can't make those kind of throws, right? That's what I'm talking about. I mean, you go back and look at that game and you look at some of the throws that he made. I was just thinking, Desmond Ritter can't make those throws. He made a dropped a dime between the safety and the cornerback to DK Metcalf, right? Then he come back and hit the touchdown with a perfect throw over the top for a touchdown. So I don't see Desmond Ritter making those plays. I'm just sorry. I don't see him making those throws. I haven't seen nothing similar or close to that all season long. And for me, um, that's what we've been looking for. How many deep balls we've seen Desmond Ritter make? Great throws down the field, right? Pinpoint accuracy. We have not seen any of that. So that's where I'm at with it. Um, Ritter was trying too hard to make something happen and got snake eyes. Yeah, it looked like he took. He looked like everybody's saying it looked like a no look pass because he was looking this way and he threw the ball that way. So that's what it looked like to me. It really did. I mean, that's what it looked like to me. So um, Three Dirty said Ritter has played. He is his coach. There is no proper development in 4 games last season. Last nine last nine played the preseason. Arthur Smith said Ritter was ready after the interception in the red zone. All these things are true. So at the end of the day, you know, it all falls back on Arthur Smith anyway, right? So I'm not because it sounds like people think I'm dissolving Arthur Smith. No, he's the head coach. He's the blame for everything. The defense, the offense, and the special team. He's the head coach. He the lead man. So he can't not take, you know, he can't take credit for anything. He got to take credit for it all. That's who he is. He's the head coach. And then on top of that, he's the offensive coordinator. So, because he called the plays. So he can't dissolve himself in anything that happened, right? The way he handled Desmond Ritter, um, last season probably should have started earlier in the season, and bench Marcus Mariota. Like you said, one preseason game, one drive, and it ended on a pick. Exactly. Probably should have seen, the future because that was in the red zone too. So I know somebody mentioned that. I was looking at on X today. Somebody mentioned that, and so probably could have seen it happening all along, right? That was a sign to tell us that we moved the ball down the field, got in the red zone, and we threw an interception. So that's a great point. Great point. Uh, that's the one I just read. Ritter isn't our starter. You're right. Oh no, he's not the starter. I mean, like I said, I think he's a place for him on the Falcons, and he can win games for you. 100% believe he can win games for us. So I'm not taking none of that away from him. He's a NFL quarterback, and maybe in time, maybe he could fix those issues. Turn the ball over. He's second in the lead in turnovers, guys, behind Jalen Hurts. Um, and look at our record. Vice their record. So I would say his turnovers is more critical and worse. You know, it's not all his fault because I want to say this: the offense is bad, man. The offense is bad. It's no other way around it. The Atlanta Falcons offense is not good, right? And it's not all the quarterback's fault. So let's just start there. The Atlanta Falcons offense is bad, and it's not all the quarterback's fault, right? It's the way the plays are being called to not get the best players the ball, right? When you're thinking about the NFL and you never talk about what schemes nobody ever harp over. They run this scheme, they run this scheme, we're going to run this scheme, we run this scheme. It's all always about the players. That's what it boils down to. It always going to come down to the players, right. You go to the Los Angeles Rams, right, on the defensive side. They saying, how can we stop Aaron Donald? They're not asking how can they stop what scheme the Rams are running, right? Right? That's Raheem Morris running that defense. We seen Raheem Morris run defense. So it ain't Raheem Morris scheme that's doing it. It's the players. That's what it is. It's Aaron Donald's. It's those guys. When you go to the Browns, right? It's their guys. You go to the Ravens, it's their guys. You go to the 49ers, right? You go to the offensive side of the ball. Now, Kyle Shanahan has a great scheme, but if you watch, he's scheming to his players, right? That's what he does. He schemed to Deebo Samuel. He schemed to Christian McCaffrey, right? He's scheming to Brandon Ayuk. He's scheming to George Kittle. So he's scheming up to get his players, his best players, the ball in their hands. Arthur Smith does not do that. That's where he has failed more than anything. That's where he has failed more than anything. His best players are not touching the ball to scheme those guys open. And that's where he has failed, right? He has this philosophy and that his scheme is going to fix everything. And, he draw up plays for his third and fourth tight ends, right? Instead of drawing up plays for his number one tight end, right? He always trying to think he's fooling and tricking people, and everybody else say, look, man, my guy better than your guy. I'm gonna get my guy the ball. He does not do that. That's not what he does. So he looked like he's trying to have the young quarterback run his scheme instead of telling his young quarterback, get that guy the ball and we'll make a play, right? That's not what he does. So he has failed, in my opinion, right? This is what I see. The numbers don't lie. You look at it. Our best players are not being as dynamic as they can be. Look at you tell by the score, one thing, right? Because you got all those players. All our players played in that game. We put up 7 points, right? It wasn't nobody out, right? That was our players, best players on the field, put up 7 points, 1.7 yards per carry in that game. So that's where he has failed. That's where he has failed. So, talking about Ridder getting benched and things like that, he's just not good enough quarterback to overcome where Arthur Smith has limited him at. That's where his downfall is, because he's just not a good enough quarterback to overcome these things, right? So Ridder should never have been drafted. Of course, as a a Panther fan, I would like you to keep him for next season. Oh, we got a Panther fan in here. Yeah, man. I know you guys happy to try to ruin our season, man. Because I know you guys really, really had, tough this season. Especially, going out get your quarterback, which I think Bryce Young is gonna be pretty good quarterback. If you just look at that last drive he had, I thought he made big plays in that game. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, you can see the flashes from Bryce, right? Bryce Young has not had a good season, but you can see the flashes. That last drive he had, I thought was really, really good. So, but I'm sorry to tell you, Desmond Ridder, he might be on the team, but he's not going to be our starter. Hopefully, I'm gonna say that. I'm not 100% sure about that. How Arthur Smith could not run a scheme that features the strength of his talent. Exactly, man. I don't know, man. That's a great question. And see, this is what bothers me about Arthur Smith, right? The reason he got hired, right? Uh, you can go back. You can go back and look at any anybody was talking about when the Atlanta Falcons was looking for coaches. When they hired Arthur Smith, everybody felt like that was a good hire because they went back and looked at what he did in 2019 and 2020, right? For the Tennessee Titans. Yes, he had Derrick Henry, right? But only other person he had probably was AJ Brown. That was, was good players, right? He ran a lot of two man tight ends, right? Run the ball a lot, great play action. Now he had Ryan Tannehill, who is not the greatest quarterback in the world. We all know this, right? He is a veteran quarterback, but those 2 seasons for Arthur Smith, he was number one and number two, um, either season in offense. Those 2 seasons, that what got him the job here in Atlanta. That's what got him the job. So you would think, right, with more talent that he has, that he would be able to figure this thing out, right? Now, I'm gonna say this: um, the quarterback does play a role in that, right? He does not have a veteran quarterback again. Again, he have a young quarterback that, like I said, with his lack of coaching that he could give to a young quarterback is hurting, you know, to do what he asked him to do, or he just lost his mind, don't know how to use his players. Like you said, it's baffling. It really is. This team is way more talented than that Tennessee Titans team from an offensive standpoint. I really believe that. But it's just broken, man. This offense is so broken. It's a damn shame. Um, and to be honest with you, the offense last year looked better than this offense. It looked a whole lot better because we had an identity, right? We ran the ball. That's what our identity was. Um, and he didn't trust Marcus Mariota to throw the ball a lot. So maybe that was the formula. I don't know, but this is really been a terrible season for the Atlanta Falcons. And Tyler Algier proved himself after being drafted 5th round. Arthur Smith didn't build from that. He started over with the emergence of Bijan. Yep, sure did. That's why everybody was kind of couldn't believe that he went and got a Bijan Robinson, right? Um, right, because we felt like Tyler Algier was just good enough. Him and CP was good enough to be able to be the guys for us. Um, you know, but I'm gonna tell you guys this: if you look at some of the guys that got drafted, um, before Bijan, right? Go look at their rookie seasons. So, um, like I say, you never know what's going to happen in the draft. You never know how guys going to pan out. You have projections and things like that, but that Philadelphia defense is getting decimated, man. They giving up over 30 points a game, right? And they got the mighty Jalen Carter. They got the Jordan Davises, and they ain't getting any pressure on the quarterback like they did last year. So, um, that's why it's all about it's all about just trying to look at it and see what happens. So I'm not going to hate on the Bijan pick because I hate it. I didn't like it in the beginning, but I think he's going to be a good player. You got to stop fumbling the damn ball. But other than that, um, I don't think getting Bijan hurt the offense. I think Arthur Smith just fucking he just lost his mind. He don't know what he's doing, man. That's what I think boils out to it. Good point. We're kind of our run game suck. We don't run play action. We don't run like we run play action on 3rd and 15. Nobody's nobody's think you're gonna run on 3rd and 15, man. Nobody's thinking you're gonna run on 3rd and 15. I'm just telling you that right now. Like you run the play action pass on 3rd and 15. You're not fooling anybody. You're not fooling anybody. Another friend say, "Do you think you should have picked Bijan in the 1st round or pick the quarterback?" Well, in this draft, it was no quarterback to pick in this draft. Um, it wasn't a quarterback to pick in this draft. If you go back to the previous draft, I really believe they would have picked Trey Lance if the 49ers wouldn't have picked him. I don't think they liked Justin Fields. That's why they didn't pick him. I don't think they like what they seen in Justin Fields. Um, so that's why I think they passed up on Justin Fields. And I'm talking about not last season, but the season prior when those quarterback came out. But I think if Trey Lance would have been there at number 4, the Atlanta Falcons would have picked them over Kyle Pitts. I just believe that um, because I think they really like the Trey Lance. Even though we haven't seen anything from Trey Lance because he's been injured, now he's back up to Dak Prescott. Probably, I don't know if we're ever going to see Trey Lance play um, in the NFL because Dak's about to get paid. So that's going to be interesting to see what the Dallas Cowboys decide to do with Trey Lance. But that's a good question. I don't. Personally, I don't think it was a quarterback coming out this draft for them to get. But you guys know how I feel about this upcoming draft. I think it's enough good quarterbacks to Atlanta Falcons do their due diligence to go out and go ahead and they need to pull a Carolina, man. They really do. They need to go get their franchise quarterback. Like, we do not want to be the New York Jets. We don't want to be the Cleveland Browns. We don't want to be one of those teams that don't have a franchise quarterback, man. Look what Cincinnati did. They struck gold with Joe Burrow, man. You know what I'm saying? Look, the Texans this year, C.J. Stroud, right? The Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, right? These are the young guys that's coming up, right? We can strike gold with a like a Jalen Hurts. They got Jalen Hurts in the second round. Maybe they thought that's what was going to happen with Desmond Ritter, didn't pan out, right? But we do not want to be one of these teams trying to go out and find our franchise quarterback. And I don't want to get no retread guy. Yes, I think Atlanta has a good roster, and we can go get a veteran to try to win, right? But I'm looking for the long term, man. For me personally, and I don't think a Kirk Cousins is good enough to pay him all that money to bring in, and 3 years from now we'll be right back here in this spot. That's just me. That's the way I feel about it. I want to win. Like, we get one Super Bowl, don't get me wrong. That'd be awesome. That'd be really awesome especially for us, as Falcon fans. But I'm thinking about the future. For me, I think the Atlanta Falcons need to go all in this year. It's at least 4 quarterbacks that they can look at in this draft, in my opinion. Right? Um, Penix Jr., Drake May, Caleb Williams, and the Heisman winner. Right? All those guys. They need to get a close look. I don't know which one. Because you don't know who's gonna pan out. It's a crapshoot when it comes to quarterbacks taken out of college. You never know which guy is going to be good, right? It's not like the '84 draft, right? When all those guys came out, all those guys were pretty good coming out of the '84 draft. You know what I'm saying? But um, a lot of drafts you don't find. You might get one or two, right? The draft Desmond Ritter came out. You remember the first quarterback off the board was at 20, Pittsburgh, and then Kenny Pickett. They already thinking about, you know, is he the right guy? See what I'm saying? Got a guy like Daniel Jones. They just paid $40 million. You do not want to be the team that pays a quarterback, and you're not 100% sure. That's why you start over. And the question is, everybody asking is, what about Arthur Smith? With a young quarterback? That's a great question. That's a great question. Connor, do you think our going away from the RPO we ran last year affected our game change? Yes, I think the ability of Marcus Mariota to have that threat of running the ball really did hurt the way we changed things. So they did kind of change their philosophy. They went more passing, I think, and this is the credit of Desmond Ritter because Arthur Smith had you know, more faith in Desmond Ritter being able to pass the ball, right? Um, Maybe he should have learned early in the season that was not the case. But he had more faith in Desmond Ritter passing the rock than he had in Marcus Mariota. So to your point, running the RPO was really effective because Marcus Mariota was a good RPO quarterback. That's what he did. If you go back to what he did at the University of Oregon, like he was really good at doing that. And only problem with Marcus Mariota was he's a one read quarterback when it comes to dropping. If he dropped back, his first read ain't there, he's tucking it down running, right? Simple offense, simple offense. Maybe this offense with Desmond Ritter is just too complex, and maybe he should have simplified it, right? But that's all on the head coach. You need to know to find that out early. Now, a lot of guys said that he should have played more in the preseason. I 100% agree with you, especially now looking at how bad this offense is. I think moving forward, and we don't know who's going to be here, but our guys need to play in the preseason, right? They need to play more than one snap or two snaps in the preseason. Arthur Smith has really been bad of the way he played his guys in the preseason. He has really been bad at that. Well, William said, I just hope we draft Mike Penny Jr. or Daniels LSU and get rid of Arthur Smith. I think he's at his peak in Atlanta. So I'm glad that's a good transition, guys, to go ahead into the point about what the owner Arthur Blank had to say this week about Arthur Smith. All right, so heard what he had to say. First of all, I was going to say Crimea River because he was like he's got a good family and he's more sick than anybody else about losing these games. So he was kind of defending him a lot. I mean that's political speech, whatever. Both that's what you're supposed to say about your head coach. You don't want to shoot him down already. But one thing he said out of the whole thing was that he didn't. It wasn't a expectations to make it to the playoffs this season. That's a lie. That's a straight lie that he said because he did. He did. We all did. The coaching staff did. Expected to make it to the playoffs this year. With all that money we spent on defense, right? Easy schedule we had. No established quarterback in our division. I still believe Atlanta Falcons had the best team in the division, and we didn't get it done, right? So that's one thing that when he said that he didn't, it wasn't a criteria to make it to the playoffs. He wanted to see a competitive team. That's a lie. We all felt like that this team should at least be in the playoffs. That should have been the goal. Year 3, you cleaned up the books. You made all these moves on defense. You decided to go with Desmond Ritter. You should have made the playoffs, man. That should have been a criteria. And he by him saying that, it's like almost giving him a free card, a free pass, saying that if we don't make it to the playoffs, I don't necessarily have to fire him because that wasn't a criteria. That's a lie. And that's one thing I didn't like about what he said. He said that he's going to give him these last 3 games to see what he got. Now, if you recall, back in 2019, no, actually 2018, the end of 2018 season, right? Dan Quinn went out and won like the last 3 or 4 games, if you guys recall that. Now, we was out in the playoffs. We didn't make the playoffs, but he went in and had a good stretch down the end, the last quarter of the season, right? And if you guys remember, Debo intercepted Jameis Winston for a pick 6 to end the season, and that was Jameis Winston last game in Tampa Bay because that's when he became 30 for 30, right? But that kept Dan Quinn his job. That kept Arthur Blank decided to keep Dan Quinn after that because that end of the stretch that he had at the end of the season, I think it was 2018 season, right? He was able to keep his job. Now you recall, 5 games in the season, Dan Quinn got let go in 2019. So he was able to keep his job because the way he finished the season, right? And then he was let go in the middle of the season because we started off bad again, right? So So he has a track record of looking at how we finish, right? So that's why Arthur Smith, everybody's saying why he went in and put Taylor Heineke in, because that's why he put Taylor Heineke in, because he's trying to finish off strong here, even though we might not make the playoffs. So that's one thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how these last 3 games play out. I already went on record saying that I hope they lose the last 3 games, so we get a high draft pick, because I want one of the quarterbacks. It's just me. I want one of the quarterbacks. But basically Arthur Blank saying that he's going to see how the season play out. Like now, let's be honest, we have been competitive. We have been competitive this season. We have not got blown out. It's been a big disappointment because we should have won way more games than we lost. So we have been a competitive team. We've been in all the games, but it's the same old song, man. We can't finish games. Offense has really let us down this year, and it's all because of the play calling and the quarterback play. That's what it all boils down to. Who is the quarterback coach in Atlanta? I don't think they got a quarterback coach. They don't. It's Dave Ragone, right? The quarterback coach that we did have, he got an OC job, and they never replaced it. That's probably the first mistake Arthur Smith made. That's a great point, Ron. Great point. We did not replace the quarterback coach in Atlanta, and it was Dave Ragone. Go to training camp and you'll see it. You'll see it. Who's working out with the quarterbacks is Dave Ragone, who's supposed to be the offensive coordinator, right? But he's working out with the quarterback because he's filling in that quarterback coach role, and that could be the first problem right there, because you're 100% correct when you're thinking about quarterback coaches. That should give your steps down, your feet, how your feet supposed to be to make you be able to throw good throws and be more on target and things like that. And so that's a great point. No quarterback coach in Atlanta. Great point. Great point. We have a top 10 defense. Nielsen is not the problem. 100%. I agree with you on that. Agree with you on that. I defense. You know what? That was one of the most exciting things I wanted to see this season was our defense, right? And I'm gonna go on record. If Grady Jarrett still was playing, I think we would have won some of these games, man. That's how much we miss Grady. I think we would have got some sacks, maybe in the Minnesota game to end that game, maybe in the Arizona game to end that game. I think we would have got some sacks, man. This season could be totally different if we had Grady out there. Because Grady was he made big plays in big moments. That's what he did, and I think he would have did it again. So that's one person we do miss. You're right, Connor. AB was circling the wagons when he talked about going to the playoffs. He said implied, yes, he did. He definitely said that. He said 100% that we should be in the playoffs. That's what he said. And that's what we all expected. Everybody, you can't tell me not one person in that building didn't think the Atlanta Falcons was supposed to make it to the playoffs this year. Yep. We don't have a quarterback coach. Ron Mitchell, the way the Ritter has failed, he doesn't have one. Still throwing red zone interceptions, no progression, can't protect the ball. Right. So that's another, check mark for Arthur Smith. No, he didn't get the guy a quarterback coach. That's a big problem. He said, "Do you think Belichick will lead the Patriots? If so, is he a good nominee for head coach?" I don't think Bill Belichick is going to lead the Patriots. And the reason I say that, because have you seen the Patriots defense? That defense is really good. Patriots defense is really good, right? So it's sort of like, what we're saying about Arthur Smith, but Bill Belichick has, he has the tenure, he has the pedigree, and he maybe need to give up his GM role, because his talent on his offense is not really that good. But if you're able to hold teams to under 10 points 3 weeks in a row, He still got coaching chops, and I don't think they're gonna get rid of him that easy. I think he has to make some changes. I don't know how stubborn he is on that. Most people saying if he do leave, the most attractive job probably would be the Chargers because they have Justin Herbert there in place and they have all that talent. I would say the Chargers may be more talented than the Falcons on paper. But we've seen what happened to their coach, right? So, you know, but I don't think Bill Belichick's leaving. But he would be a good coach, right? Um, I don't know how it'll mesh with our coaching staff. If he's gonna bring in all his own guys and stuff. I kind of like Ryan Nielsen, um, and this is one of the things. Would you say with Grady we would be? Yes, I agree with you. With Grady, we about to. That's what I believe, man. I believe Grady would a wreak havoc, man. I really do. I really do. I agree. I agree. So this is one of the things you guys, because the defense, right? Because of the how good the defense looked this year, and bringing in a new coach, right? So usually what happens is when you bring in a new coach, he always bring in his own staff, right? It's just the nature of the beast. This is what happened, because when they do interviews, they like who's going to be your DC, who's going to be your OC, and you bring in all your guys. Well, I'm saying that I want to keep our defensive staff, and I don't know how feasible that would be bringing in a new head coach. So that's maybe something that Arthur Blank has to really consider because I don't want the defense to take a step back because this defense been playing lights out. It really has. It really has been playing lights out. And if the offense just could have came along with it, man, this season would have been so much different than it is now. But when you start to think about hiring a new coach, bringing in a new coaching staff, are you gonna tell the coaching staff, hey, I want you to keep this defense, these defensive coaches? I usually coaches don't like that. They want to bring their own staff in because they have their own philosophy, how they want to run things and things like that. So that's a question that we really have to think about when you say you want Arthur Smith going because coaches bring their own staff in. So you're telling the coach, yeah, we want you, but we want to keep everybody else. And maybe not on the offensive side, right? Because offensive side is one thing, but I'm just talking about that defensive staff. I really believe that I want all those guys to come back. I love the way Jerry Gray and Steven Jackson has got the secondary playing, right? I love the way Ron Nielsen has that front seven playing. I love all that. And if we get a new coach, do we get to keep our defensive staff? More than likely, probably not. So that's one of the things that Arthur Blank needs to consider, especially how much progress this defense made this year, and based on how much salary cap space we got, right? We can actually add even more depth to this defense this year. So to me, that's one of the things we definitely need to consider. Um, with the firing of Coach Smith. So I'm just going to put it like this: if Coach Smith does come back, I think he should relinquish his OC, his play calling. Really, I think Dave Ragone need to be out. Right, they need to, like you said, you guys talked about bringing a quarterback coach. For whatever quarterback we get, um, and then he need to bring in an offensive coordinator. Right, if you're going to be the head coach, be the head coach. Yeah, you still can have your input, but when it comes to calling the plays, let somebody go out there and get these guys and be able to get your playmakers the ball. Um, Kyle Pitts is going to go into his fourth season. So you got to make a decision where you're going to pick up his fifth year option here, right? So these some of the things you got to start considering, right? You got to be able to get your 3 first round draft picks involved in the game for offense. So that's me, right? They have to. Arthur Smith got to do some soul searching. I know he's called himself stubborn and things like that, but if he want to be the head coach for the Atlanta Falcons, he need to make changes It can't be the same old thing going into next season if he's going to be the head coach. It can't be. It can't be. And the only reason I'm considering it because I don't want to lose our defensive staff, right? That's just me. And maybe they could keep the defensive staff. Maybe they can, but usually coaches want to bring in their own staff. I agree with Kona. We got to keep the defensive staff. That's what I'm saying. Say Jerry Gray is our new head coach. There you go. Or just keep the staff, right? You just have Jerry Gray hire offensive coordinator. I, I don't have a problem with that, man. Let's do it. Let's do it because this like when have we seen our defense play this good, man? Like they gave up 9 points last week. We lost. We lost. Right? Out of the 3 of the last 4 games, we ain't gave up a touchdown. Now that Tampa game was what it was, but 3 out of the last 4 games, we ain't gave up a touchdown. Right? This defense is playing lights out, man. It really is. So we have to start looking, at the entire picture, right? Because I know everybody looking at Coach Smith, but he won't be the only one leaving. That's the point I'm trying to make. Right? That's the point I'm trying to make it. Because the new coach want to bring his own guys in. Usually that's what happens. Now, like I said, Arthur Blank could put stipulation, well, we want to keep this staff, right? And now if he say, yeah, I don't have a problem with that, that'd be great. But you don't know who's coming in, and who they don't promise. Hey, when I get a head coaching job, I'm gonna bring you with me. That's what happens, man. That's just the nature of the beast. It always happened. They always bring in their own staff. Most of the time, most of the guys don't stay on the staff. Arthur Smith came in. You see, he got rid of Dean Pease. He got a whole new defensive staff, right? Pretty much, because the guys he brought in, Ryan Nielsen brought his own people in. That's just the way it happens. So that's got to be something Arthur Blank had to consider, and it's going to be based off these last 3 games. So it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do. Some said that the defense failed us last week. I mean, they gave up the last drive. I mean, it's a team sport. Sometimes defense got to pick up for the offense. But if you telling me that giving up 9 points in a professional NFL game is failing, I don't know what to say. If our offense can't put up more than freaking 7 points in the game, maybe we should lose. So I do not blame last week game on our defense at all. I don't. 9 points is 9 points. We only scored 7 points the entire 60 minutes of a game. So I just can't see how people blame the defense. Yes, they gave up the last drive, but momentum plays, and then it is what it is, man. The other guys on the other team can play too, right? And Bryce Young and those receivers start balling out, man. That catch that Mingo made on the sideline, got both his feet in. That was a great throw, great catch. Like you can't take that away. Making plays, right? And I've talked about this. One thing about our defense, it's probably only one playmaker on the defense right now, and that's Jesse Bates. Grady's out, right? But everybody else, they solid, but they're not playmakers, right? And that's why the Atlanta Falcons need to get playmakers, right? We need to get a pass rusher, right? In those crunch moments, we want somebody to be able to get to the quarterback so he won't make great throws like Bryce Young made, in that last drive of the game, right? That's what we need to do. So, right, defense is not a finished product, but from what it did from previous seasons, right? You can go all the way back to the Super Bowl when we wasn't even a top 10 defense in that game, right? And it showed, right? Because Tom Brady wore us down, right? So we wasn't in the top 10. I think that 2017 season, we actually was top 10, right? And we went to the divisional round that season, right? We went to the divisional round of the playoffs in 2017. But after that, our defense been bad until this season. So that's what I got to say about that. He said the last drive didn't decide the game. Missed opportunities on offense set us up for that loss. 100%. All right, and you know what? I don't want to forget about the drive before the Desmond Ritter turnover when Bijan Robinson turned the ball over as well, because they did get 3 points off that, right? So that was huge, huge series as well. And guys, we only had three possessions in that second half, right? And we turned the ball over on two of them. So I mean, there you have it right there. Three possessions, you do two turnovers. Um, that's what loses you the game. That's what loses you the game. So you got to look at it and see it for what it is. Um, so, but guess what I'm at, guys? I think Arthur Blank has made his statement, but I think he gonna have a lot of things to think about moving forward. He gonna have a lot of things to think about moving forward because um, a lot goes into changing your coaching staff like that. It's a lot that goes into it. It really is, and you have to find the right guy. Do you want another first year coach? Do you want a veteran coach? Right, you got to think about all those things. Like I said, the staff, what scheme they're going to run. They're going to go away from the 4-3, 3-4. All these things, man. It's a lot to think about. Um, so the decision is going to be huge. I know everybody is frustrated and things like that, but something has to change. I do agree with you 100% on that. Something definitely has to change, and hopefully, um, whatever change it makes, we can see a better product on the field next year. All right, the last thing I'm gonna talk about is just kind of touched over a little bit earlier was the future of the quarterback moving forward, right? Um, so like I said, I'm just going to what I want them to do is just go out, and I know a lot of people think about veteran quarterbacks. I don't know a veteran quarterback out there that I was like, yeah, get him and pay him a lot of money. I don't want to do like what the New Orleans Saints did and bring in a guy, somebody like Derek Carr, and you see what's going on with their season. I don't want that. That's not what I want. That's definitely not what I want. Um, so for me, and it's kind of scary to bring a rookie quarterback in, Arthur Smith, but man, I'm just hoping we get a CJ Stroud, get a Trevor Lawrence, right? We get a Joe Burrow, right? Let's just see, can we find that find that guy that's going to come in and show that he is the franchise quarterback, from day one, right? You put the pieces around him for he don't have to do a whole lot, right? That's what we was hoping we can do with Desmond Ritter, but didn't pan out for us. But you add pieces around him offensively, defensively, and we asked him just like we wanted Desmond Ritter to do, just don't lose the game for us, and see can he be our future moving forward. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see, the quarterback position. I don't have a quarterback right now. I don't even know what our draft position gonna be. Um, so we have to definitely wait to the end of the season to see how everything pans out for us. But you know, the Atlanta Falcons got to stop, meddling in the middle here. They need to go out, like I was saying, is make a splash. They need to go out and make something exciting for this team, right? Like when they went out and got Michael Vick, right? Like something like that, right? That's what Atlanta Falcons need to do, right? If they want Jalen Daniels, go get him. You think Caleb Williams answers, go get him, right? I don't know who's the answer, right? I think they need to make sure they do their due diligence and draft the right guy to come in, and especially if Arthur Smith's going to be here, it's really important to make sure you get a quarterback coach. I think you need to bring in offensive coordinator. Those are the kind of changes they need to make. And then last but not least, they need to go get him a pass rusher. That's what I think. Future moving forward for me for the quarterback position. What's going on, Ricondo? And I know that I'm late to the show. Yep, man. I was just talking about you didn't miss much, but the biggest thing, we talked about Coach Smith being fired, Arthur Blank talking about him, giving him the last 3 games to make the decision. I just mentioned that, it won't be just our Coach Smith. A lot of times it be the whole coaching staff. So we have to think about that, right? Because we like the defensive staff. So, most coaches want to bring their own staff. So we have to think about that. One other thing that we need to think about as well is um, you know, schemes, players they drafted and stuff like that. Because all these players that were drafted was, based off what Smith wanted, right? Right. So different philosophies and stuff like that. It's a lot of stuff to think about. That's all I'm saying. Right. We're in the third year of the regime. You're going into fourth. Right. Um, it hasn't gone how we wanted it. Everybody wants his head. Right. But at the same time, um, we need to be smart about this. And starting over means starting over a lot. So just that's where I'm at with it, because it's not like he's the only one going, everybody stays. Never happens like that. Coach is gonna bring in their own guys. So that's a huge. Um, if they go get a quarterback, I wouldn't mind drafting Jalen Daniel. There you go. That's yeah, man. Go for it, man. The guy was dynamic, college Heisman winner. Um, just do it. Rakono, I'm not going to say anything. I've been saying since the last year, this is not Arthur Smith offense that he ran with the Titans. You're right, it's not. He changed it. He has changed it 100%, and that's why it's a shame. That's why it's a shame, because maybe he should have brought his offense with him. Maybe he should have brought it with him. Maybe he should have brought it with him. So, guys, um, that's all I have today. Enjoy you guys coming in talking to me about Desmond Ritter, talking about Taylor Heineke and what we think he's going to be able to do moving forward. Um, talking about Arthur Smith and potentially him these last 3 games and how he's going to win. Then in and out what we're going to do with the quarterback position move forward. Like I said, I do not want to be a team that's searching for our franchise quarterback in and year out, year in and year out. Wallace says, I know some fans want Arthur Smith fired, but I think Blanket is going to give him another season to get it right. I do too. I believe that, but he has to make changes though. They cannot they cannot they cannot bring it back this way. They can't do that. If they could decide to to stay pat with this whole system they got right now with Dave Ragone, Arthur Smith, no quarterback coach, um, it's not going to work. I just don't see it, because what's going to change? It has to be a change, and that's where it happens. He always try to talk business, right? Because of course his pops, Mr. FedEx himself, right? So he tried to put everything in a business perspective. Well, a businessman would know that what you didn't work. You need to make changes in business. Businesses change all the time, and if he don't make changes, he's too stubborn. He's not looking at the problems, because right now, if you run it back, what you have this season is it's not going to get any better, and it'll be just like Dan Quinn. I gave an analogy. 2018, Dan Quinn was able to win his last 4 games or whatever, going off the season, and then Arthur Blank decided to keep him. Start 2019 season, he lasted 5 games, then he was let go. Right? This could be the same thing for Arthur Smith. Right? He comes in, he somehow does well in these last 3 games. Arthur Blank decided to keep him. Right? Started off bad next year because it's same old, broke down offense that we've seen all season, right? And he get let go early, and then we'd be searching, you know, a season be lost, right? Because we'll have an interim head coach in the middle of the season. So It's important for Arthur Blank to figure out what he wants to do, but he needs to make sure Arthur Smith has decided to make some changes moving forward. Because if you don't, it's not going to work. You said I think he's going to have to let Ragon go. Yes, he's going to have to, and that's where I'm leaning. I'm leaning at Day Ragon this his last season, and he need to bring in a quarterback coach. A lot of people remember that, but especially if you're going to bring in a young quarterback, you need to bring a quarterback coach in. It just it's just the way it is, and what he need to do, sort of like what the Cincinnati Bengals did for Joe Burrow. Whatever quarterback he brings in, he need to kind of bring that quarterback's system with him, right? What he good at and what he's not good at, and kind of implement that into it because that's how Joe Burrow was able to hit the ground running. Of course, he got hurt his first season, but that second season, you saw what happened, right? So, um, those are kind of things what I'm talking about where we can kind of look at other teams and see how, because a lot of this stuff is based off, historical data, right? What we have seen for other teams. That's how they build teams, right? They look at how other teams have done it and built teams throughout the season, out the history of football, and that's how they try to build their team. So that's a great point about Ragon. I think he's going as well. He has to be. Somebody got to be the guy. Somebody has to be the guy. They'd be like, bye. So we'll see. We'll definitely find out who that guy is going to be at the end of the season. It could be Arthur Smith, especially if these last three games don't go well, man. It could be him. And if it's him, get ready for a whole new coaching staff for the most part. They might keep some pieces, but you know, a lot of these guys going to be gone, and even on the defensive side. So, and that's going to be kind of nerve wracking because the defense plays so well. I think Arthur Blank will keep him and make the correct changes. I hope so. I hope so. That's what I hope. That's what I'm hoping. All right, guys, that's all I have. Thank you guys for coming in today. Um, be back. We'll see what happened on Sunday, right? We'll see if they guys can get a win. Um, I'm not holding my breath with Taylor Heineke, um, but we'll see how these guys play. And that's all I have. This is your boy Ricondo coming back at you with another video. Peace.